Welcome back. Today we're sitting down with two people who are honestly just really fun to talk to, Elizabeth Higgins-Clark and Lauren Pomerance. They're married, they're moms, and between the two of them, they've written for some of the biggest shows on television, The Ellen DeGeneres Show and Saturday Night Live. And Elizabeth comes from one of the most legendary families in American literature. Her grandmother was Mary Higgins Clark. But what we really wanted to talk to them about today is what they built for their own kids. It's called Wooby and Fotty, a musical puppet show about a pair of security blankets that come to life and help little ones deal with their big feelings. It's sweet, it's smart, and honestly, it's exactly the kind of thing you'd expect two incredibly creative parents to dream up. We're talking travel, parenthood, and how Wooby and Fotty went from an idea to a real show. Let's get into it. Lauren and Liz, welcome to the Roamaroo Podcast. We are so excited to have you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I can't believe we're not in New Jersey together. Right now, Lauren and Liz are in New Jersey, and we are in Italy, so we are tuning in from abroad.
We can't believe we're not in Italy together.
That's the real thing. I know, we got to get you guys out here.
Yeah.
Lauren and Liz are wonderful creative entrepreneurs, and I've known Liz for a long time at this point, right? I mean, we met in Los Angeles 15 years ago.
Colette, I was actually thinking, this morning when I woke up and knowing we were going to do this today, I think I had dinner with you with our mutual friend, Michelle, how we know each other. And I believe we had dinner like 2 days after you met Scott. You had been at a wedding and met him, and we had dinner, and you told us about this guy you met at a wedding. Is that correct?
In Vegas. We met at a big party, which was like...
But then you might have been talking about how you were either right after, so we met in Vegas, and then in the second time meeting, my brother was getting married.
Oh,
so there was
you had a wedding.
So I had a wedding. I think they think that's how the stories got combined. Yeah, so, wow, that's amazing.
I remember that. I remember you talking about, I don't think I knew his name at the time, but Scott. And that I remember being very excited, and that you were about to. And Scott, did you live in Chicago?
I did, yeah.
Where did you live?
I lived in Chicago.
Yes, I remember that. And you were gonna go right off to see him in Chicago or wherever you were meeting him. And I was like, wow, this is bold as real.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you were there from the start. And then we had dinner with my mom as well, and she still talks about you. She's like, oh, I love that Liz. I'm like, okay. We love her too, Mom.
I love your mom. Your mom, first of all, I love moms in general, but I love your mom so much. She just seemed like the piece of work in the best way, and just like moving and shaking. And I was so into your mom. And then when I saw something you posted about how she has started to act again, I was so moved by that. And the idea that obviously she had a very successful career as a producer, and just kind of was doing what she was doing. But then to move back in your later years to just keep doing something that is unfulfilled or nagging at you that you still want to keep doing, A+. I knew I liked her from the jump, and she, that just...
Kindred spirits. Yes, creative women hyping creative women.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So tell me about, I know that Liz, you've been acting for ages now, and Lauren, you've been writing. Tell Roamaroo all about your creative experience and your start.
Want to go first?
Well, you go first.
So when I met Colette when I was living in LA, because I had, when I got out of school, I wanted to act, and I never thought I would move to LA. I always thought I would stay in New York. And then I got a job in a TV movie that took me to LA for a couple weeks. And I kind of decided, oh, well, if I'm ever going to do this, I should do it sooner rather than later. So I moved there and was there for about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years before I met Lauren. And right around that time, acting just kind of, it wasn't, I felt like I felt very grateful that I had gotten to spend, over a decade pursuing it and doing it. And I loved that time, but I was kind of ready to move on. And it wasn't growing the way I wanted it to. And And I also kind of felt at peace with transitioning into doing something else. So, and it, right around that time, I met Lauren, and I was thinking I was going to move back to New York, and I had a plan to move back to New York. And then I met Lauren, and she was not going to be leaving LA at that point. And so I stayed and I transitioned into writing. And that has been, I'm very happy that that happened when it did.
Well, that's beautiful. It's funny how the plans tend to be rewritten as we meet the love of our life, right?
Yes, and in the best ways. And I think also it's interesting. I come from a family of writers. My grandmother was a very, very successful writer. My mother was a successful writer. My aunt was a successful writer. And so I saw it in their kind of through their specific lens and way of writing. And then I think meeting Lauren, I had never considered writing, trying to get into TV writing. And I think meeting Lauren, and she's about to tell you all the wonderful things that she's done, but that kind of broadened me in a way that it might feel strange that I hadn't thought of that part before, but I really kind of hadn't. And so that really was a change for me.
And Lauren, you've had a history of, you're a writer on SNL, is that correct? And also the Ellen Show? You've had a very long history of some successful writing spots.
Yeah, my first writing job was at SNL when I was a toddler, very, very, very young. I was an assistant there, and then I became a writer. And then that was a tough time. And so after that, I moved to LA because I thought I wanted to write on sitcoms, and everything was in LA. And so I moved to LA and ended up getting a job on the Ellen Show, which is when I was at SNL as an assistant, her show started, and I wanted to write on it because I was like, ooh, I felt like I can do that. I just loved her growing up and loved her stand up, and I was like, oh, that's like the perfect thing for me. And then they hired me in SNL, so I stayed there. But then I went to LA and applied to Ellen and got it, and then ended up staying there for quite a while, on and off. I left to go do a sitcom, and then I went back, and then I left again to do a movie, and then or to write a movie, and then I went back, and then I was around the show for probably about like 13, 14 years. And doing the show and then some of her side projects and stuff like that. And then I really, once I met Elizabeth, I had been working on a movie script when we met, and I couldn't quite crack the movie script that I was working on. And then when we met, I was like, oh, I think I have an idea that's going to make this make sense. And I started writing it for real, like right after we met. And finished it a year or so later, and then worked to get it made for several years, and then it finally got made. And so since then, I've been doing some more movie stuff, and then after she embraced her writing side and we started really. We found out we are very compatible working together. We started working on our little kids show together called Wooby and Fotty that we have been producing for YouTube for a couple of years. And that's brought us, that has made us realize how much we love working together. And so we've been doing that and some other TV projects together and having a wonderful time. I'm so glad she transitioned to writing and... she's very creative. I was going to add to your own story that I think writing was always something that you were just so good at, and you didn't didn't pursue it for whatever reason, but I'm so glad you did because she's very, very, very good at it. She's kind.
You need that partner sometimes to push you and see things that maybe you don't see. But so you bring up.
I think that's so true, and I.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I wonder if you guys feel similarly. I feel like the bold steps that you've taken in your lives to live, not in necessarily a conventional way. Would you have taken that without each other? I don't know.
It's hard to know, but I know that we have a trend. A few things. One, it's weird how like we have the hive mind where like we'll both be thinking the same thing, and I'm talking like big major life decisions almost at the same time. Like we'll like one of us will kind of bring it up and be like, I was thinking the same thing. But we also have this pattern where one of us will, if we're not thinking the same thing, one of us might have like some crazy idea and bring it up, and the other one's like, I don't know about that. Like I need a little bit of time, and then usually it's like the next day. In all the big decisions that we've gone forward with, we'll sit down and be like, okay, well, let's figure this out, and then we'll do it. No. And all of a sudden, our life has completely changed like that. So.
Yeah, it's kind of like we oscillate between like big idea and then like logical brain, and we go back and forth, and neither one is like the one that always has the big ideas and always has the logical brain. It's like we pass that back and forth as well. So I think I don't know if I would take as many big risks if I didn't feel, because there's like a sense of security and confidence in knowing that we will be all right no matter what, because we have each other. And so I think it gives me this confidence to then maybe take a bigger chance than I normally would. Do you ever feel that way?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Constantly.
I think we're a little different in that I think I skew more towards a big idea and Lauren skews more towards logical brain.
Yeah.
And so but I think it's her logical brain that allows some of my ideas to come to fruition. And the thing is that I think I know like once I have her on board for a big idea, then it's a good idea. Like that's how I know it's actually worth doing.
Definitely takes me a good 48 hours to come around. I got to sit and ponder for a while, and then.
And I actually think this is a good segue into travel, because I think sometimes like I have an idea of, we should do this or go here or do any of this. And for Lauren, maybe it takes a little bit of a ramp up and a worry, but then always so glad we did it. So glad we did it.
My instinct is like, no, we couldn't possibly.
Yeah.
And then
what was a recent place or trip that was like you didn't think you could, but you did?
Oh, everyone. Sorry, we lost you a little bit.
Oh yeah. Okay, there you are.
There we are. Can you share us now?
Sorry, what was your question, Scott?
Oh, the question was what was like the last time or one of the big times where you were hesitant but then ended up moving forward?
Everyone.
So take us through your process
every
then.
Single time.
Yeah.
So the process.
Well, let me just say this also. Before I met Elizabeth, I used to book travel a good week in advance. I would be like, I'm gonna go home from LA to New Jersey, or I'm gonna go on this trip, whatever. And I would be like, okay, I'll do that next week. And so I will book it. I booked it so last minute. The idea of planning is not something I'm comfortable with. And so Elizabeth will be like, in 7 months, we are gonna go to wherever. And I will be like, let's talk about that in 6.5 months. And we can't, because we have we have to make plans now. So usually I go, okay, well, no, I can't, no. And then she'll continue to make the plan and discuss it. And then I'll give her a hard time.
Such a hard time.
I'm trying to think of where, the last, it's everything.
Everything. It doesn't matter if it's
one of the ones that it was really, we went to Newport. Right after not right after, but it was the first time we left the kids with someone. Is that true? Second time?
Yeah, it was early on and
after having our kids.
And we had just gotten a house in Montclair, and I was like, let's go to Newport. Lauren had never been, and it's so beautiful. I'd never been at Christmas, and we were like, let's go.
And I was like, I can't imagine. How do we? I don't know what to pack. I don't know what to bring. How do we
pack? What?
And I gave you a pretty hard time with that one.
So hard, stomping around, miserable. This is such a bad idea.
Stomping.
A little bit. It was
sulking.
Sulking. You're right.
Stomp.
You sulk.
I do sulk.
You sulk. This is not great
Like,
for
this
me.
is not a good idea. We're gonna like take so long to get there, and then how much time are we gonna have there? Long story short, guys, Newport is great.
All that to say you loved the trip.
I had a great time. I had a great time. And stayed at a great hotel, great meals, adorable. It's wonderful. But that doesn't stop me from the next time saying yes right away.
And so now it's just part of it, you know? So now I don't take it as anything other than like Lauren is just, you just have to get her on the plane or get her in the car and then it's okay. It's like she just has to get transitioned to the vehicle of whatever vehicle is taking us to a destination. Then she's fine. Yeah, and she's great.
I'm a big person of inertia. Yeah. Like if we're like, before we started this trip to Italy, I was like, I don't know, do we want to do that? And then, you know, now that we're here and we're away from home, I'm like, let's keep going. Like we could go to Asia, we could go all over the world. Let's like, can you just keep that mindset? Because we got to go home for a little bit.
Stop. The idea that one part of Roamaroo has inertia is like, I don't believe that. That is wild to me that there is any inertia. I think it's actually good for people to hear because I think sometimes, like, you know, when you see people that are going, moving, traveling, all of it, it feels like, oh, that couldn't possibly be me. I think a lot of people feel like that. And it's like, but it can. It's just a decision or, you know, there's a lot that goes into it. Obviously, financially, work flexibility, all of those things. But there is like, yes, we all have tendencies, I think, towards inertia and like just getting through it is so important because I find I have a theory and no one cares, but I'm just going to say it. I have a theory that my parents got divorced when I was 5. Right. So they split up when I was 5 and they had looking back, an unusual custody arrangement where my brother and I spent Monday nights at my dad's and then Tuesday and Wednesday nights at my mom's, Thursday, Friday at my dad's, Saturday, Sunday with my mom. So outside of like a week or a week vacation at any given point, I never slept in the same bed for more than like 3 nights in a row. And so it really, like, looking back, it could have turned me into a major slut in college. It didn't. But
nobody was thinking that.
Nobody was thinking that, but, like, I thought that. But the thing that is so wild about this is that I do get restless. I find myself after, like, too many nights. Like, now it's different, and we go a month or 6 weeks without leaving or something like that. But I am comfortable in a state of moving. I'm not super comfortable, like a long horizon with no change. And I don't know if I would have been like that without the way that I grew up.
That's quite perceptive. I was thinking that it could even go the opposite where you wouldn't want to change beds anymore. But it sounds like, you know, you only want to stay home. I don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a piece of that, like, where I feel at peace being at home, but there's another piece that, like, it's just kind of hardwired to keep moving and to, like, pack a bag and do those things. And I think it's not something that I feel all the time, but I do notice getting antsy if I see a long runway with no geographical movement.
I see a chance at rest.
And that's why you're perfect together. You complement. Yeah. I feel like we go back and forth between that as well.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
yeah.
And also having kids, it's changed a lot too.
I think if traveling makes me appreciate home and home makes me appreciate travel. And I need to have both or else I'm either bored or I'm antsy on the other side. And I need both. Like right now, I'm in the travel mode, like the inertia and all of that. But I am looking forward to my bed at home as well for when we go home next month.
I can't wait for their bed. These beds here in Italy, just this apartment is like a piece of wood.
And how?
But tell me, so we've talked
curious.
about.
I know we're not supposed to.
Oh, good.
Go ahead.
How do you find what's going on with your kids? Like, how do they do? I feel like if it's all you ever know, you're great, but I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it is easy for them.
You just broke up
Yeah,
in your
so
question.
sorry.
We didn't
Just
hear you.
do it again. Ask the question again.
I just said I think like, how do your kids do with the movement? Because I think that's such an interesting thing that we talk about with our kids and how the back and forth that we did with them from LA to New Jersey for a while. But I'm curious about how your kids deal with it.
Well, Summit's too young to know. He's 11 months. And then I think Scotland coming here, I think there was a bit of an adjustment.
Yes.
There was nothing like acting out or major, but like just her sleep changed a little bit. And she hasn't expressed, because she's at the old enough age where she can now like tell us like, I want to go home, or I miss this or miss that. I haven't really heard any things of like, I want to go back to New Jersey. Really? Have you? I mean, until
She
just
said
recently.
she
maybe.
misses her best friend, so she'll talk about that. And she misses her granny. And she misses her room. So there's certain things that she has shared. But this girl loves an adventure. So she's like, when are we going on a trip? When are we going on vacation? And she likes the airplane, the airport. And I think she likes the airplane because she gets to watch movies when she's on the airplane. It's a special day then. She gets a lollipop on takeoff. So it's like, there are some rituals that we have instated in our family that she really looks forward to. And I think she also likes kind of caring for her brother now on these days. Like, she knows what's going to happen at the airport. So but she gets to be the big sister and tell him what's up. And he's just like, okay, like smiley and, in the little baby carrier. But she's like the big sister that knows it all. So it's been a fun process.
That is sweet.
I'm curious. So you have been traveling back and forth, or you were traveling back and forth between LA and New Jersey with 2 kiddos. How was that? How did you manage those cross-country flights?
It was very intense for a while. We also had a dog in the beginning, our dog Sophie. So we would pack up Freddie, Emma, the 2 of us, and Sophie dog. And we went back and forth probably, I think before they were...
Between the time they were 1 and 2.5, I think we went back and forth 10 times. So
Wow.
It was like 10 round trips in 18 months.
Oh.
So that was, I think, I think we'd had our fill by the end of it, and it just kind of felt like it was, we were eager to stay put.
Yeah.
For them to stay put anyway. And so, we had when we had our kids in LA, it was 2021, it was COVID, they're twins. And so, we were just kind of in a place where we weren't seeing our family as easily as we had wanted to. And especially it was so odd to like have these kids and it wasn't easy for our parents to get there. Lauren's parents are getting a little older and it was harder for them to travel. And it just, I think we also needed more help. And we just, we had a lovely, lovely nanny, but it wasn't, having grandparent help. And I think we knew that we could have a lot more of that available to us in New Jersey. And so when they were 1, we didn't travel with them at all on a plane until right after they turned 1. And then we came east for about 3 months. And right before we left, we bought like a little house in Montclair, sight unseen, and which was wild and something we thought we'd never do, but worked out just fine. And then kind of started going back and forth between there and LA for those 18 months. And then we just kind of started to feel that we wanted them to go to school in New Jersey. And so at the end of the 18 months, we rented our house in LA and just kind of came back with them and stayed put. But in terms of the travel and the going back and forth with them, I mean, we didn't do it lightly, and by meaning we did not pack lightly. Like, we were a mess, and like
the car seats. We wanted to make sure they were, they each had a car seat. We had our double stroller. We had the 2 of them.
We found our picture
Well,
We found a picture from our first flight ever. So this is us at LAX.
Oh my goodness.
What a disaster. There's the double drawer. There's the car seats on our back. Like, I don't know what we're thinking of how, because we got them their own seats. Car seats on our back, and then there's our dog in the carrier. And like, we could have used you guys to be like, here's what you need and don't need, and what are you two doing?
You know,
And it
you
was,
look like you have it
was a
all
lot.
together, I have to say.
You actually look pretty well organized for
Yeah.
what you have to deal with. Like, that's pretty good.
it is pretty crazy. And we didn't, for the beginning, we didn't put iPads in front of them on the plane. And so it was like Snack City, and like any snacks they could possibly have wanted, they got.
We were a touch self-righteous about the iPad thing. Like, we were like, not until they're 3, not until they're 3. And so we really held out and they never saw one until they were 3, which, you know, probably they could have seen it younger than that and everything would have been fine. But we really did ourselves and the people around us a major disservice, because we were like, not until they're 3. And you could see these people around us like staring at us like, give the kid an iPad, and we just kind of wouldn't do it.
It's so funny how controversial that is. And, you know, I mean, right when we travel, like, we have an 11-month-old, we will do whatever, because this guy is just like an alligator, like flipping, turning, but he has no interest. But they're like, I've tried to.
Yeah, we're like with Scotland with our first, I think we waited as long as possible to introduce the screen to her. And with Summit, we're like, well, do you want to watch the screen? And he's like, no, I'm good. Like, let's do some forward rolls.
Yeah.
And so each kid's different. And travel days are about survival, which is what I say. It's not about thriving. It's about surviving.
Yeah.
I will say also, like, before we traveled, though, I would like see all these things on Instagram of like hot tips for travel that were like the blue tape, like that tape that, and like, those things would not work for us. I packed like rolls of blue tape, and I was like, here we go. They don't need an iPad. They're going to just pull the tape off the chair. They're going to tape up their pencils. And they were like, no, they just wanted to watch something or eat something or once they started walking, it got much harder once they realized they could walk around. And, you know, then it became, like, at the beginning, I would say it was crazy because we had so much stuff and so many live beings. But then once they were on the plane, it was actually kind of like they sat in their little car seats, and they were okay. But then when they started walking, that was like, oh God. I remember like there was like a dad watched us go by and was like, let me help you get car seated. Like, he just felt so sad.
There's some nice dads that really helped us at different points.
It's so lovely when a parent gives you that look of like, I got you, I'm not judging you, and offers to help. It's actually happened quite a bit. And it's lovely. And I just feel like there's so much negative energy, especially on the internet, about like, don't bring your kid or don't bring a baby on the airplane. And it's like, we all were babies once. And I actually find that most people are kinder than we expect. And we're so nervous when we get on a flight. Like, I don't want my baby to cry. And I still get nervous that I don't want my baby to cry and disturb. But I find more people are kinder rather than like, I don't think anyone's ever said anything negative.
One guy, which there was funny how karma paid him back. We were going through security, and we're family, and there's a lot. There was just a lot of things, and this guy was just saying stuff under his breath, like passive aggressive, and I was just like, it was just borderline where I didn't say anything, but I kind of wanted to. I'm like, he hasn't really said anything to us. But then as we're like finally finishing through security, I look back, and he's like, they had him take his belt off. And his pants embarrassingly just fall to the floor. And so there he is, like, he had, underwear on, but he's like trying to like compose himself. And I was just like, serves you right, buddy.
Take your pants up, sir.
Yeah. So
there are children around.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We had most people have been nice. We had one woman. So a couple of times we'll do like 3 across and 1 across the aisle, or 2 and 2. We try to be behind each other. And so this was like a 2 and 2 situation, and there was a woman next to me. And so I think it was like, baby me, this woman. And she was not having it. She was not pleased. And she was texting her friend from the airplane. And she was like, oh, there's like a crying baby next to me. And like, they weren't even that bad, but they were, I'm sure they had like a moment. And then I don't remember if it was Emma or Freddie, and I don't want to, blame one or the other incorrectly. One of them definitely like let out a toot. And she was texting her friend and be like, man, his mother's just leaving them in a dirty diaper. And I was like, no, we're not. No, first of all, that was a fart. Second of all, what are you talking about?
Leave them
It was just, and it had just happened. It was just so aggressive. And I wanted to be like, just so you know, that was a fart. But I didn't say anything because I didn't want her to know I was reading her texts. But
and the baby's probably not the only one farting on the plane, let's be honest. Like, there's a lot of people that do that, so it's pretty gross. Don't blame the baby.
I do find now when I'm either when I'm flying alone or flying with Lauren without the kids now, like, what a pleasure cruise it is. Like, it could not be the most, I don't care if the plane's delayed. Like, it is a relaxing jaunt.
Yeah.
But I always try to look around now and like see any parents and help if I can with a bag or any of it, because you don't quite understand it until you're in it.
And you were in it from the get-go. I mean, with twins, it wasn't like you could pass one off and the other person be free. You both had your hands full from the get-go. So it's a lot with two right now. It must have been very intimidating to take your first flight. If you could remember back to that moment from that picture, like, what were the emotions that were going through you?
Oh my God. Fear. It's exhaustion and emotion.
Excitement. See, this is where we're different. Excitement. But I think we were like, I remember that day we were traveling, we were going with them to Cape Cod. So it felt like each leg was like, okay, the car ride to LAX, got through that. Then the LAX airport got through that. And then the flight, then getting off at Logan, and then the car. I mean, it was a long, long day. But I just remember like get through each step, thinking just get through each step of the travel.
But even back then, like we had milk. We had their bottles. I remember going through security and they like had to test the bottles.
It's so ridiculous.
And
sure.
And I do have a problem with germs. So I was like, oh boy. Like each step of the way for me was like, how do we just get through this? Like the swabbing and then putting them through the metal detector, and then where does the stroller go? And like and backing the line, backing up behind us, and yes, that's what she doesn't remember any of that.
No, I do.
Just different colored lenses.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But and then I'm amazed at how much easier it's gotten with them, though, because we just went to Florida to visit grandparents, and oh my God, like it was. They have their own backpacks now that they can carry. And they have their own little whatever activities they want to bring. If they want to bring that blue tape, they can. I don't have to carry it. And like it was so much easier. It's so much easier. They can have their own water from the airport instead of bringing, their bottles or whatever. Like it was just so much easier.
Yeah.
And so that has been a big, big change.
It's
that
an
makes
interesting
me excited
way,
too.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's an interesting way to like look at travel with it. Oh, sorry. There's
a little delay.
You go ahead.
You.
Okay. So I was just going to say, it's an interesting, as you look at like travel with kids, like I feel like for one kid, we're at the hardest time, which is that like they can move and squirm and wiggle, but like there's nothing to really entertain them. But it's kind of this, you said this mindset, like the last flight we had wasn't that long, but like it was tough. It was like he napped to get ready for the flight, so he fell asleep before boarding, woke up as we got on, and you're like, all right, it's just like trying to entertain this like reptile in a cage and try to keep him out from harming himself. And it sucks, but you get home and you're like, no, like I'm glad I went on the trip. I know that it's going to be difficult, but like it's going to pass, and it's really not that long of a time period of having really tough travel time.
And what would you say that age-wise that it got easier, where you saw like a step change?
I think even last year, our kids will be 5 in June, I think even last year, like around this time last year, I took them on my first flight ever. Just Lauren came and met us a day later. And so it was my first time traveling with the two of them by myself. And I was nervous, but it was fine. And so I guess at that time they were 3.5, kind of getting closer to 4. I think that's when it shifted. But like under 3 is just not, it's not easy. Like I feel like that's post 3, just there's a real transition of like
when they can be in their own seat and like they can just sort of like,
they were always in their own seat,
but like not in the car seat.
Oh, right. Yes. Right.
The car seat was tough.
But like we also could have just had them on our.
Yeah. But with the lap infants, you can't have 2 lap infants in one row. So you would have had to figure out.
Right.
Yeah, which is a challenge. So it's like, okay, well, one of them needs a seat then. And it's rough. The lap infant thing is rough. So you were probably, you were safer by having them in their own seat, and it probably saner. So you could put them down. We did the lap infant thing last flight, and it was rough.
Yeah, because like I don't think our kids would have napped at all on our laps. They would have been squirming the whole time.
Yeah, we lost you.
Okay, and sorry, you broke up, and we are back.
Italian internet. Oh, they're still broken up, I think.
Oh no, did we lose them?
There we are.
There you are.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we lost you, but we're back now.
That's all right. Let's.
Yeah. Well, we want to talk about Wooby and Fotty, your pair of childhood security blankets that you have created a show about on YouTube. We want to hear all about it because I think it's the perfect travel companion for kiddos that might be a little anxious about certain things.
We agree. I had a Wooby growing up. I had a little blankie that I called Wooby growing up, and my best friend at the growing up had her Fotty. And so we still both have them, and we still both talk about them too much. And I just always wanted to create a show about like a pair of childhood blankies because it doesn't exist. And I used it for my anxiety always growing up, and so did she. And so a couple years ago, a friend and I started literally just making it. We got puppets made, and we had puppeteers come on board, and we just started making the show. And then Elizabeth came on to help us and really keep us on track producing it. And she's done a great job. But yeah, our hope is that the show helps kids manage their anxieties and other big feelings that they have. Travel definitely is a big one. So Elizabeth's mom actually made our kids these prototype blankets of Wooby and Fotty, and Freddie is obsessed with his, like goes everywhere. He's taken it with him like on car rides, plane rides. It's very cute. It's been washed many, many times. And Emma has a doll that she loves. That's her sort of like comfort object. But we just know that like no matter what the object is, kids love having that feeling of comfort and safety and security. So whether it's a blanket or a lovey or a doll or whatever, that does really, really help with anxiety. And whether it is a plane ride or a car trip or, first day of school or whatever it is that's giving them anxiety, like these things can help. So we created a show sort of all around those feelings and all about that. And
it's very entertaining. Our audience are really preschoolers, and so it gives kids. It's kind of like taking medicine and not knowing that it's in something. That it tastes good. Like it's a very sweet, wholesome, entertaining show with lots of songs that are very catchy and some of which talk directly about emotions and anxiety, but others that are just more about the different letters and looking around. And, while we are a YouTube show and that is where you can find us, we also are proud that we, Wooby and Fotty, definitely encourage kids to also go outside and be in the actual world and do all those things. So it's a great thing. And I think what I love about it, it's a low stim show. We're not looking to addict any children. But it does something where I think parents, we hope and have heard, really enjoy watching it with their kids. So it's kind of something that everyone can feel good about doing together. Like, you're not going to want to blow your brains out watching Wooby and Fotty. You might actually want to watch it yourself. There are times where, especially the songs in our emotion series, like the calm song, I need to listen to the calm song sometimes.
We've had a lot of it thank us for the calm song.
Yeah, the calm song is a big one.
But yeah, and we've had friends actually download it to their iPads or devices and show it to their kids while flying, and it's really worked, and they've enjoyed it, and our own kids have done that. And then it's also on Spotify, so that if you are
car rides,
that has really helped our kids
big time.
Down in the car for long car rides is just playing the song. You don't even have to watch it.
We have, I think, about 60 songs on Spotify, so they're all there.
That's awesome. I didn't realize you guys were on Spotify, so we will definitely add that for our big trips.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, it's really helpful. It's really worked. I gotta say, it's when they're having a moment in the back seat and we'll put on a series like the calm song or a series of those songs, and they get quiet.
Yeah,
and there's peace.
But it's truly amazing how, kids don't respond to lectures, but if they hear a song or a story, game changers. And so you're doing both in one, which I think is so wonderful.
Yeah, and I think that inspiration is certainly, the kind of the things, obviously, like right now, I think Bluey is the master class of teaching parents about imaginative play with their kids. But I think we look at Wooby and Fotty as more like in the Sesame Street kind of vein, and just kind of helping kids see around them. And then we also do interviews with different, sometimes celebrities, sometimes other kids, sometimes just parents. And so that the kids can also get see kind of the grown-up perspective too, which I think is helpful. And I think a lot of kids really respond to. Yeah.
I really like the frustration song, how it is obvious to parents the way what happens, the blanket gets frustrated because the tiles aren't stacking up right away. And I feel like a kid can see that, and it will make a little bit more sense, because they'll get frustrated, but they may not really know, tie the emotions to it. So you kind of have to hold their hand so they can make the connections. And I saw that and I was like, wow, that's it's, parents see it and think, oh, it's super simple. But as a kid, that is what they're trying to learn at that age.
Teaching them to label it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that one of the things we've noticed so much with our kids is when they're having a meltdown or they're having a tantrum or they're really in something, that's not the teaching moment. That's never going to be the time where they can understand oh, you're feeling X, Y, or Z. It's kind of putting that into letting them get acquainted with those things when they're not in those states. And I think when kids kind of take to a song that explains, we have an angry song, a sad song, a happy song, a frustrated song, all those things, when you can start metabolizing them through singing about them. And then I do think it kind of can permeate, and then you kind of remember that, oh, this is why I'm feeling this way when I'm trying to stack blocks, or I'm mad that someone's not taking turns correctly or anything like that.
Yeah, Freddie and Emma, our kids have definitely started to be able to use their language more in terms of identifying the feeling. Sometimes it's quite hilarious. Yes. Out of nowhere, they'll just be like, I'm frustrated. All right. But they have been able to really use the songs to identify their feelings, and they want to hear songs sometimes even when they're not feeling those feelings. They'll want to hear the sad song just because I think they feel like they can relate to it, and they don't feel as, alone or isolated when they know a song exists about this strange feeling that they've had.
Yeah.
I love that you're giving kids the opportunity to learn about these big emotions, because I feel like we had a few things growing up as millennial parents, but I think having these specific emotions, because there was the Sesame Street, like you mentioned, and it's definitely an inspiration, but this is digging deeper. And also when you have the celebrities, tell me how you're able to, like your talent search process to get people onto the show, because getting onto a children's show, it's a big responsibility, I feel like, for actors and talent. How do you choose that?
Well, we have so far really wanted to talk to people who have kids so that they can understand, and people who have kids who have blankets. And so that sort of was our hope in finding everyone we've spoken to so far. And it just sort of became, they're all friends of friends or friends of ours. And they wanted to talk about I think for the most part, their kids' blankets. I think some of them even, like Donovan from Patton, because he had his own blanket, which I loved. And then Jamie Chung talked about her son's blanket, and Fred Armisen and talked about his son's blanket, and they brought them, and luckily the kids were, I think, okay with them being outside of the house for a moment. But they're just, everyone that we talked to, celebrity or not, or like anyone of especially I think our generation, when you say childhood blankie, security blanket, they're like, oh my God, I love to buy. I brought mine everywhere. I still have it. It's like, a ball of knots, and I love it, and I'll never get rid of it. Or people still have like a piece of it in their pocket. And so everyone we talked to and asked to talk to us about it, like, had that reaction of like, oh my God, yes, my kid is obsessed with it. And some of this stuff was all about if we lost it one time or it was in the washing machine. And so they have like multiple versions, and it's just a very relatable topic. And so, we just wanted to find people who could relate to it and had kids who were obsessed with their blankies as we were. And so everyone's been really wonderful and willing to share their stories on their blankies.
It is extremely relatable.
I can remember like the corner of my blankie. Like I loved feeling it. I still remember that. That's really funny.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It probably smelled disgusting.
Yeah. I used to suck my thumb and like run my blanket around like the edges under my nose. And I would have a chapped nose.
But never happier.
Oh, loved it. Teddy. Loved him so much.
Now, you were saying that both of your kids had a specific, you said a doll, right? And something else that you would travel with. Now, if I recall,
Our daughter.
did you have two potential ones that you would kind of swap out? I feel like if they're not listening, as long as the kids aren't listening, this could be a great tip for traveling parents.
So there was a real situation where there are these dolls. I forget, is it Melissa and Doug? Yeah, they're Melissa and Doug twin dolls. There's a girl twin and a boy twin. And so my dad gave Freddie and Emma the dolls one year for Christmas. And then a few months later, a friend of ours gave them the same dolls for their birthday. And at the time, it was when we were going back and forth. And Emma really took to the boy doll and named him Anthony, and took to him like.
There's no way to know it's the boy doll.
Yes, it is. It was it was a blue. It was dressed in blue. All right. Anyway, maybe it's not. I took it as he presented as the boy doll, and so Emma took to Anthony in a big way, and we were going back and forth at the time.
That's why I say she named him. Your mom helped name them, but
that's right.
Anthony is not his given name. Anthony is the name that Emma has given him.
Yes, that's correct.
Very
He didn't come with a tag that said Anthony. But then so we took one set of dolls and left one in California and had one in New Jersey, so that we wouldn't have to travel with the dolls, and we would just say like, Anthony has to go in the suitcase. Like he's too little to come on the plane. She bought that. And so we would do that. And then when
that worked for
a while, for like over a year. And it was great because we weren't schlepping the dolls. And then when we were fully in New Jersey, I went back to California at some point and got the dolls out of storage because Laura and I were saying like we should really just have both sets of dolls here in case there was an emergency and we lost one because we weren't going back and forth anymore. And so I got Anthony and his twin Carabella. Again, not the name it came with, the name that we gave it. Anthony and Carabella were in
classic kid names.
Yeah, classic kid names were in my suitcase. And when I got back to New Jersey, I
think they were like, what did you bring us? What did you bring us? Because they're always looking for like what we brought them from a trip.
Yeah.
And so Elizabeth opened the suitcase and I forgot that they were like on top.
And so all of a sudden it was like, oh, we have 2 Anthonys and 2 Carabellas. And then like all of a sudden we have 4 dolls to.
The point was to like hide them together pair. Yeah. There's Anthony, and they each have a Carabella. But Emma knows exactly which Anthony is hers, and they are the same, except one has brown eyes and one has blue eyes. So like 2 have brown eyes, 2 have blue eyes. But she knows exactly which her Anthony is.
Well, I would just like to say she is a twin, and she understands like you have to be able to tell twins apart.
For sure, for sure.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
I love this.
So good.
So now you have double the trouble.
So Anthony comes. Yes. And Anthony is the most important figure in Emma's life.
Yeah, she's the most important person in our house.
Anthony is. Anthony, like, comes everywhere. Anthony will I think went on the ride to school today, if not to school today. Like, Anthony is very, very, very important. And Freddie has his Fotty that Elizabeth's mom made. That is also important and comes with him everywhere.
I feel like we need to get Wooby and Fotty's out on the market too, so that kids can travel with them.
From your lips. From your lips. Yes.
So I did agree.
Oh, yeah.
Well, your kids have traveled a lot with you, and you've traveled a lot with your kids. I'm curious, because we talk a lot about how these experiences shape kids and also how they shape parents, because I feel like traveling with kids really empowers parents to do more. How do you feel that these journeys with your kids have shaped and like the new environments have shaped them?
I'm so grateful for it. Like, I think we're very lucky that we can do it. And I feel, in the way they talk about it, just the way they talk about actually traveling, like they love to go on the airplane and look out the window and see what's out the window and see the other planes and the airport, experience the airport, and like they just love all of that stuff, and they can talk about it now, and that's like half the fun. But then the fact that we get to go somewhere great on the other side has been great for them, because it's not only like where we're going, which is always a fun adventure usually, but it's who we're going to see. And so they get to understand that, we went to Florida and we got to go see flamingos and crocodiles and their grandparents, and they got, not in that order, and they got to experience something new and see different things. And so I'm really grateful for that. And I might live a fear-based life, but they don't have any fear of it. They don't have, they have all excitement and all positive feelings about travel. And I'm really happy about that, because I obviously hope that they do a lot more of it, with or without us.
Yeah, and I think that we do a lot of car travel too. And I really like that. I love the feeling of the 4 of us in a car on our way somewhere. That feels very exciting to me. And they really enjoy it. And I think they feel very comfortable on the adventure of it. And they seem to ask a lot of questions. And I love their sense of possibility of like, they always think they're going to go back somewhere. And that, I love that, because something I never want to feel as like, oh, I'll never be somewhere again. I never think that. Even if it's true, I like the idea of like, oh, it's not the last time that you'll see something. And I don't think it ever occurs to them that it could be the last time they see something.
That removes a lot of stress. I feel like a lot of adults need to think that way. I need to bring that into my repertoire as well.
And I think of our daughter, we went to Ponza, Italy, which was like very kind of tough to get to from the States. And like, she still talks about, can we go back to Ponza? Can we go back to Ponza? And we're like, yeah, we'll be back there this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freddie and I have not left. We have not left the country with the kids yet. They have passports. I got their passports like so early, but we haven't done that yet. I don't know when we'll do that. I don't
We will.
We will. And I'm excited. Like, I want to do everything with them. Like, I want to go back to where we went on our honeymoon with them and I don't know. I want to go everywhere with them.
And
Where was
something
that,
that also, I think, had
South Africa.
Oh, yeah.
South Africa. We did.
one day.
We loved that.
They have to be a little older to appreciate that trip.
Yeah, for us, that's going to take a little while to take them back there, but I really want to take them there.
But traveling has given them such a sense of independence too in their little selves, because they like even packed their little carry-on backpacks. They got to decide what they wanted to put in it and which snacks they wanted to bring and which coloring book and which crayons and you know, that's just like tiny decisions, but like really good tiny decision making practice and knowing that like, hey, this is the choice I'm making. So now when I go on this long flight, I'm going to have that with me and can't really change it. And those sorts of little tiny, like micro decisions and independent, like, tastes of independence, I think is so good for them.
And I think kids are so, they're so adaptable, but also so curious about the topography of wherever they are. And like, I love living with them in Montclair, New Jersey. I love that. But there are just certain things that are not in Montclair, New Jersey. And so when we've taken them to Cape Cod and all of a sudden they think about the tides, and because when the tide's all the way in, they can't go down to the beach. Or when the tide's out, they can. And so like...
And the foods they eat in other places, I mean, they have had, like, they know guacamole and edamame a good, like, 30 years before I ever did.
That's true.
I love that.
They're like, I want to go back to that place with fish tacos. Yeah. Okay, so do I.
And Lauren, I feel like you said the word practice, and I feel like that's really important to go back to, because I think a lot of people and parents especially we think we have to be perfect getting on the plane with the kids. We think we have to know it all, even if we've traveled before. But every time we travel with kids, it is a practice, because we keep learning as they get older, as we go to a new place, whether it's in a car, on a train, on a plane, whatever it is, we're always learning together. And so I feel like that's really important to remember for people listening at home, that you don't have to know it all to get on a plane or go somewhere with your kids. You just have to start getting those repetitions in. And I'm curious with how they pack their bags too. When you said they're practicing packing their bags, how much hand holding is there at this point? They're going to be 5 soon. What do they get to choose versus what do you put in there, if at all?
So far, they've only been tasked with packing their tiny backpacks for the plane. And so luckily those are so tiny, they don't fit that many things. So we guided them along in terms of like, because they also want to bring the same thing. So it's like, okay, you each get a coloring book, and you each get, like, they have these like drawing pads that I highly recommend for parents. They're those, like, I don't know what you call them, but they're, you just hit a button and it erases almost like the
rainbow
modern Etch-a-Sketch. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They're super thin. What a product.
That has been wonderful. So they each get one of those, and then they can pick I like 3 snacks from home that they want to put in the bag. And they can pick, like, they pick the fun pen and some crayons and markers. And that's pretty much, those are sort of the parameters. It's like activity, food, and, something fun. Yeah. But we haven't let them pack their clothing yet, because that would be a disaster. But they have these little like little suitcases, or like that I think my mom got them when they were born, and they pack them just nightly.
Oh, they constantly
when we're not going anywhere, they will just be like, I'll be right back. I have to go pack.
I have to pack.
And they will put in, like, we'll open it and be like, oh, that's where the train is from 2 years ago. Like, there's so much stuff in these suitcases that, like, anytime we've lost something, we got to go to the suitcase because it's probably been packed.
When we were going back and forth, so they were probably like 2.5, somewhere like that, and they were still napping. And I'll never forget, they were, deep into the packing mode, constantly packing things. And I put them down for their nap, and I heard Freddie say, Emma, wanna pack? And I was like, no packing. No one is packing. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. And it was just constant. But every time we say, wanna pack? Want to pack?
And now we just let them pack. We let them pack. But it's like half their books are in there, and then they'll come downstairs with it as if we're going somewhere when we are not, and just like carry their little suitcases around. Or they'll be like, this is too heavy, can you bring this down for me? Like, where are you going?
It reminds me of...
They're into it.
It reminds me of... we might... Yeah, I guess that's a plug the computer. Of when Scotland said she was going through security, she like took this little metal tray, and she was playing in her kitchen, and she's like, I'm going through security, and it was just like...
Yeah, she had a little play kitchen at home, and the sink could come out, and it looked like a little tray, and so she was like, I'm going to go through security, and she was 2. It was so cute. I was like, yes, it's working.
Yeah,
it's all working.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love that. It's just like exposing them to all these different life skills that they'll pick up on very, very early.
I also feel like it's representative of the fact that like these little ears are always listening, and these little eyes are always watching what moms are doing and what dads are doing. And I'm curious then, like, with all of the travels that you've had, have you run into any mishaps on the road that, a delayed flight, lost baggage, a detour that you had to figure out, and how did you manage that in front of the kids?
Well, no, I think we've had all of them. We've had delays. We've lost a bag.
They still talk about that.
They are more traumatized by that bag loss than we are, where they when we drop our bags at security now, when we check in, there's a lot of, Emma in particular is always like, I hope it gets there. I hope it gets there.
Like, I hope it doesn't get on the wrong plane.
Yeah. I mean, we've been barfed on in the car. Now I got barfed on the plane once. I don't know. I think it's almost kind of the same way you approach any part of travel. It's like, head down and get through it. Get through this leg, this piece. It'll be over eventually. And yeah,
I feel like we got stuck taxiing with them once for a very long time.
Yeah, that was
probably the hardest version of that, just because you can't get up and you can't do anything. But I feel like we just kind of shoveled snacks into their mouths and then got through it that way. And nothing too bad, luckily, I would say. But the bad,
you
just
got
the one
puked
lost
on.
bag.
That's a lot.
Been talked.
Yes,
that she did.
She did. Yeah, I've had all the puke, which is for the best. Lauren wouldn't do as well with that, but I've had all of it in the travel.
I have had we have cheated some poopy diapers on an airplane, and that is, I have. I don't know if
I never did.
Yeah, I have.
You did. You know what?
Scarf.
Yeah.
And that is that's challenging in an airplane bathroom.
It is very challenging.
I wouldn't know.
Not fun. Yeah, as I'm sure you know.
I think one of the hardest.
That was probably worse.
Yeah, I mean, they're always listening and learning, and you're trying to keep your cool. And I think one of the hardest experiences, I mean, it's not that hard in terms of the travel experience, but we had, I shared about how some baby is knocking on the door. Our daughter can watch a movie once we're up in the air, but from when we arrive at the airport until we're on the plane and in the air, she's asking, are we in the air yet? So it's this whole process, and she's getting so excited. We were flying from Tahoe back to New Jersey, and we're on the runway, and it feels like we're going to take off, and then we don't.
What?
And so we turn around and have to go back to the gate, and she's like, what just happened? Like, I'm supposed to be watching a movie right now. Why are we back here? And I'm trying to tell her, like, the plane's not taking off. There's a weather issue, or I think it was weather. Anyway, managing little expectations. It's a challenge. And then they're watching you, and you're like, I'm bummed too. I'm trying not to be too bummed because I want to set a good example for her too. But yeah, teaching her. Oh, hi, sweetie. Speaking of.
Sweetie, please, can you give us a few minutes?
Yeah, tell Stephanie it's in the.
I don't want it. Okay, what is it in?
Tell Stephanie it's in the kitchen in the tin foil.
Well, Lucy, go.
Little kids, working at home. That's how it is, right?
Yeah, we get it.
Know it well.
Well, if your kiddos were listening to this episode 10 years from now, 20 years from now, what would you want them to hear?
I want them to hear how they make each place we go to now better, and how watching them discover something or just sharing a place with them makes it even better. That experience, I grew up going to Cape Cod during the summers, and now we do that with them, and taking them back to the same place that I grew up going to it's really something. I already had such like a deep love for that place in particular, but now seeing them enjoy it and start to grow up there, it just resonates in a whole different way. And I think I'd want them to know that, I love going away with just Lauren. That's really fun too. But my favorite version of it is when the four of us are together somewhere and experiencing it. And I hope that, they know how much joy they've given us doing it. And I hope that they continue to do it in their own lives.
Can't say it better than you.
That was very well said. That was beautiful. That was very magical. So, well, I guess that's a great note to close on.
Yes.
Where can people find you or
Wooby and Fotty?
Wooby and Fotty is on YouTube, WOOBY and FOTTY, and also on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of the platforms. And we're both on Instagram. I'm at Elizabeth Higgins-Clark.
I'm at Pomerance, POMMYRANTZ. Yep. We are there sometimes.
We are available.
You can find us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and everybody go check out Wooby and Fotty, download on YouTube, and watch them on your travels.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you're learning from and or enjoying this podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. These are great free ways to support this podcast. Also, please subscribe to this podcast on both Spotify and Apple. On both of those platforms, you can leave us up to a 5-star review, which would help us out greatly. Please also check out the sponsors mentioned in today's episode. That's the best way to support this show. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, please put those in the comment sections in YouTube. And yes, we do read all the comments.